All right, we have talked about triangles, I think, well enough that we understand the differences in the types of triangles. And now we need to talk about another group of polygons, and that is quadrilaterals. So you can imagine a quadrilateral has four sides, hence the root quad for four. So there are lots of different kinds of quadrilaterals that we could have. And what we want to do is organize a chart that will help us to explain how they all fit together and how they all um, intertwine. So the first kind of quadrilateral we have is just a plain quadrilateral. And it can be any shape that we want, as long as it has four sides. So this is a quadrilateral. It is an irregular quadrilateral because it doesn't have any congruent sides. It doesn't have any congruent angles, I don't think. At least it's not intended to. But it's a quadrilateral just by the virtue of having four sides. Now, we can regulate this a little bit. We can make a quadrilateral that has, let's say, a set of parallel sides. So I can make a quadrilateral with one set of parallel sides, such as this. Okay, this quadrilateral has one set of parallel sides. This side and this side are both, they're parallel to each other. They will never meet, but these sides aren't. You can see that if they extended up, they would eventually cross. Well, that's called a trapezoid, and it is a special kind of quadrilateral with the one set of parallel sides. Now, there are also quadrilaterals that have two sets of parallel sides. So, let's see, we have irregular quadrilaterals. We have trapezoids. Now we're going to make another branch on our little tree here that we're building. And this is going to be quadrilaterals that have two sets of parallel sides. And so I'm going to just make that right here. And right here. And I'm going to connect them together. Let me just disregard this little bit right here. So now we have these two sides are parallel, and so are these. Well, what are we going to call that? That's going to be a parallelogram. Parallelogram. So that is a special kind of quadrilateral where both the opposite sides are parallel to each other. But what if we can find some special parallelograms? Well, I think we can. Let's see, this parallelogram doesn't have any right angles, but what if I made one that did have right angles? I'm going to make a little arrow down here, and let's make a parallelogram that has four right angles. There are two parallel sides, and here are two more parallel sides, and these are all right angles. Now the opposite parallel sides makes it a parallelogram, but the right angles make it a rectangle. So that's a special kind of parallelogram with right angles. Now, there's another special kind of a parallelogram that has four congruent sides. I'm going to have to scoot up here. So still parallelograms. And now we're going to make it have congruent sides. So let's say this is going to have, that's a half an inch. Now make it a whole inch. And then we'll make this a whole inch. And I'm going to attempt to make them parallel. If it doesn't look parallel to you, just know that I tried. All right, this is a parallelogram, but notice that the sides are all congruent. And that makes this shape a rhombus. So a rhombus is a parallelogram, which is a quadrilateral. A rhombus, a rectangle is not a rhombus, but a rhombus could be a rectangle. How could that be? Well, let's see. What if I had 4 congruent sides and 4 right angles like this? Now, that is a square. A square is a parallelogram, is a rectangle, and is a rhombus. So, you can see, I'm going to try to zoom out a little bit here so you can see all of my little chart that I've made. We have the large group of quadrilaterals. They can be any shape you want as long as it has 4 sides. Then we have the special group of trapezoids that only has 1 set of parallel sides. Then we have the set that has 2 sets of parallel sides, the parallelogram family, which includes rectangles and rhombuses and squares, which are both rectangle and rhombus. So those are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different kinds of quadrilaterals that we need to be able to identify and tell apart. These are all things that you need to be finding in your origami figures. So we'll look at a few practice problems tonight and see what we can do with that. Thank you.